Have you ever thought about how math could be taught through a completely different lens? Well, today, we're going to take a look at a really fascinating sixth grade math lesson. It's all about plotting points on a coordinate plane, but it does so using some very well-known biblical figures. So let's see how this actually works. Right off the bat, this quote is at the absolute heart of the lesson plan we're digging into. It really sets the stage, It frames a core math skill, plotting coordinates, as a metaphor for faith. It's a pretty unique blend, so let's break down exactly how the lesson pulls it off. All right, first up, we're looking at this biblical approach to math. This whole explainer is really a deep dive into this one unique sixth grade lesson.
Okay, so before we get to the really interesting stuff, we gotta cover the basics, right? Let's talk about the mathematical foundation here, mapping the 4 quadrants. So the lesson is built around what it calls the big idea. And honestly, it's the fundamental rule of the game. The signs of your x and y coordinates, whether they're positive or negative, tell you exactly where a point is going to land. If x is positive, you go right. If it's negative, you go left. If y is positive, you go up. And if it's negative, you go down. It's as simple as that. Now here's where things get really creative. To make all this abstract math feel more real, more tangible, the lesson uses key biblical figures. Let's see how it looks in action. So, the first example from the lesson plan puts the figure of Joshua at the coordinate pair -7, 8. The question is, how do we find him on this grid? The process is super straightforward. You always start at the center, the origin, at 0, 0. The first number is -7, so we're going to move 7 spots to the left. The second number is a +8, which means from there, we just go 8 spots straight up. And there you have it. A negative x and a positive y will always land you in that top left section, which we call Quadrant 2. Now, that whole concept is tied to a memorable character. Pretty smart, right? All right, next up, we have Deborah. She's located at the point 5, -9. Now, you'll notice the signs are flipped this time. So what does that mean for where she is on the grid? It's the same exact process. We start at the origin. +5 for the x means we move 5 units to the right. And then a -9 for the y means we move 9 units straight down. And that move lands us in Quadrant 4. So that's the rule for Quadrant 4, a +x and a -y. Using a different figure for each quadrant really helps to make that pattern stick. Now, the third example throws a little curveball at us. Elijah is at 0, -4. That 0, that's the crucial detail. So what happens when one of your coordinates isn't positive or negative, but is just 0? Well, the rule is pretty simple. An x-coordinate of 0 literally means you don't move left or right at all. You just stay right there on that vertical y-axis. From that spot, the y-coordinate of -4 tells you to just move 4 units down. So because he didn't move left or right, Elijah isn't actually in a quadrant. He's located directly on the y-axis itself. And that's a really key distinction that the lesson makes sure to highlight. Okay, so you've seen the examples. The lesson then logically moves on to some exercises to make sure you've got it down. Time to put it all into practice. All right, here's one straight from the source material. Students get asked to graph the point -3, 7. Now, based on what we just saw with Joshua, you can probably guess where this is going, can't you? And yup, there's a solution. 3 units left, 7 units up, which lands it squarely in Quadrant 2. It's a direct application of that first example. Here's another one, but it's a little different. This time, the question asks students to describe the process for graphing 4, -5. So this is testing if they understand the steps themselves, not just where the point ends up. The answer, of course, mirrors that Deborah example we saw. 4 to the right, 5 down, and you land in Quadrant IV. This kind of repetition is really designed to lock in these core concepts. So let's circle all the way back to the why. What's the guiding principle here? What's the deeper connection being made between the math and the faith? Well, the lesson plan explicitly includes a Bible verse of the day. And this verse from Proverbs, it serves as the scriptural anchor for that central metaphor we talked about. The idea is, just as you trust the fixed rules of coordinates to find a specific point, the lesson is suggesting you should trust in God to guide you through life. And this really brings us to our final thought. This curriculum isn't just teaching math, is it? It's simultaneously reinforcing a specific worldview.
And that leads us to a much bigger question. What happens when educational materials are designed with a dual purpose, to teach an academic skill and, at the very same time, to impart a system of belief? It's a really fascinating look at where education and ideology can intersect.